Hey guys, so just wanted to update on the fantasy football PDF that I released earlier before the season in around August, the middle of August. So thank you guys to those that bought it. Thank you to those that watched the video and are currently watching this video. Hope you guys did well. I'd like to honestly review how I did in the numerological aspect and rating the players before the season. So I did go off my own list and try to pick according to my list. Try to get the players that I could get. And I thought I had some good overall picks. But let's take a look. Okay, so I did release a sneak peek video where I had my top 5 players for each position. Right, so actually the top player for each position. And I did 5 positions, I believe. I did quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and kicker. Okay, so for quarterback, as you can see here, I had Jalen Hurts as my top guy. I think I did release that Tua would also be really good. And I think we've seen Jalen Hurts do really well. Was he the #1 pick? Maybe not. Maybe there were some other guys that I didn't necessarily anticipate that have done better. But I picked up Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts really has saved me many games, oftentimes getting more than his projected points of around 23, 24, which was really good. It's really helpful having a quarterback, that can get over 20 points consistently. And that's especially if they can get into the 30s, because that really makes up for some of the shortcomings of the running backs or the tight ends or your defense or whatever. And I like Tua. I ended up picking him up off the waivers later on in the season because someone randomly picked him up because they needed a quarterback. Otherwise, I would have had him. He dropped like 40 points in the second or third game, and then he was averaging around 20 later through the season. So I thought he did fairly well. Has he been a 5-star rating so far? No, that's why I put he's a bit of a wild card. But with Tyreek Hill looking really good, with Jaden Waddle looking really good, and with them having really a shortage of good running backs, Tua has been extremely good in combining with both of those guys, right? And I did have Tyreek as my top wide receiver as well, and I thought he was definitely up there. Probably not the top guy. Cooper Kupp going off early on, but Cooper Kupp did have an injury, so he's been out for a little bit. Justin Jefferson went off. Stephon Diggs have been going off. But I thought I got pretty close with that. I want to say I went back over my picks last night. I was looking through my notebook, and I had about 15 players that were either straight up misses or just bad picks. Okay, that I made. Now out of the 100 players that I did overall, 85 were really good picks or good enough to impact your roster. Okay, so I would say at least 70 to 80% accuracy I had. Now, if you had one of those 15 players that I may have written as good and turned out to be a major flop, or I may have written as a major flop and turned out to be really good, then that could have definitely impacted your season and could have made a big hole in your season. For example, I ended up picking my guy here. Where's my wide receiver? I ended up picking this guy, Allen Robinson. I'm like, oh, he's in a great year. He's in a 1 year. He's going to be incredible. I really wanted to pick up Amari Cooper instead, but someone had picked him up before that. Oops. Don't want this right now. Please go away. Okay, yeah. Okay. All right. So someone picked up Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper ended up doing very well this year. Someone picked up Stephon Diggs, like first pick. It was a troll pick. Someone picked up Cooper Kupp and Tyreek Hill in the first 2 picks. I'm like, okay, what is going on in this draft, right? So I'm like, okay, oh great, I got Allen Robinson. He's still a good pick. Mike Evans also was picked. I think I did pick up Deebo Samuel as well. I think he was a bit of a letdown for me giving him 5 stars. He should have easily been a 4 instead. He hasn't really provided much 5-star efficiency and points. And then Allen Robinson was definitely a major letdown. I mean, I thought with him being in his 1 year, he'd go from his WR2 status, to being to outshining Cooper Kupp. I thought Cooper Kupp would have a scandal. I thought he'd get kicked out or something of that nature, and he'd do well a little bit, and then he'd be pushed to the side, and it'd be Robinson's time to shine. But I guess there are other factors at play, and Robinson really has taken the hit. I was technically right. He now officially has WR1 status, right? So I was right. But he's still not connecting with Stafford, and he's still not getting the points he needs. He got a touchdown last game, I believe. And I think we're talking like week 13 right now, or week 12, week 11. I don't know what week we're really on, but we're towards the end of the season. I'm struggling to make playoffs, to be honest, because of it. But he does have his WR1 status now. It's just that he didn't get the points that I anticipated he would get because of it. And I don't know if that's because of Stafford or whatever. The sport is rigged, though. So another bad one was Robert Woods. Another bad one was Cam Akers. I picked up Robert Woods as well. I did say he was risky. His numerology contradicts his astrology. Numerology is usually more accurate and looks good. Again, he was also in a very good year. I don't know what happened. His astrology, I guess, must have kicked in. He wasn't very good. Thank God I didn't pick up Cam Akers, but one of the other people in my draft did, and he was obviously horrible. But people like Jalen Waddle, Mike Williams, who I was also going to pick up, did very well. T. Higgins, I picked him up later on. He was a good fill-in for a little bit. I ended up trading him for Juju, who is doing decently well right now. He's still in concussion. I have him at 2.5 stars, but based on his projection points, he looks good. So I'm going to work him in. Michael Thomas, still with his injury. Keenan Allen obviously wasn't very good. I didn't like him from the beginning. Devontae Adams, another one that I missed on. I thought he would have an injury. I thought he'd have a really bad year. Somehow, some way, he's been one of the best wide receivers, to be honest, in terms of getting points, in terms of way overshooting his projections. And I guess Raiders were just a good pick for him. Tyler Lockett, I feel like I was spot on with him, as well as DeAndre Hopkins. Oh, I put Tyler Lockett twice. Whoops. 2 wild cards. Tyler Lockett was up and down, but he really got a lot of good points and won a lot of games. DeAndre Hopkins now coming back from an injury. He's projected really well. So, wild card. Yeah, a lot of these guys. Another one I want to talk about are the running backs. I feel like I was pretty on point with the running backs. I wanted Austin Eckler. He was gone. First pick. I had like 9th pick or something. Or I don't even know. Yeah, I was 9th pick in the 12-man draft. So I ended up with Dalvin Cook. I thought it was a good pick. He's done pretty well. And then I ended up with Ezekiel Elliott. I'm like, wow, I get Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott. This is great. Ezekiel Elliott was a little bit of a letdown, not gonna lie. He was a little bit of a letdown, and I wasn't happy. I would have taken Derrick Henry if he wasn't picked instead, but that was unfortunate. Well, I think I had Cam Akers as a wide receiver by accident. This report was a bit rushed. Derrick Henry did very well. Has been doing very well. I thought he was 30% chance he suffers another injury. But he looked good in terms of energy and explosiveness. But yeah, Ezekiel Elliott ended up having more obstacles, and I knew Tony Pollard would do well because I also have him as a very good year numerologically, as well as Josh Jacobs, who I was also going to pick up, but someone took him. And Tony Pollard kind of got in the way of Ezekiel Elliott's points, I would say, which kind of limited him. But Elliott has still been the number 1 guy, even after his injury. Did not expect Nick Chubb to do that well, as well as he's been doing so far, but still had him pretty highly. Brees Hall, I said he would do very well. He ended up getting injured though. Makes a little bit of sense in terms of makes a lot of sense in terms of the numerological year he's in. But I thought with the other numbers he had, it would kind of offshoot an injury. Ended up not being that way though. And he ended up getting injured actually. Aaron Jones, another kind of risky play. If you had him, he's kind of inconsistent. Ramondre Stevenson, I thought this was a good pick. He's been doing very well. I didn't pick him up though, but I thought I rated him decently. I think McCaffrey has had a challenging year. I think he deserved better than a 2.5 star. But the challenges have been there for him. He's gotten some good points though. I think I was pretty right on DeAndre Swift. He's been very unstable and got injured. Joe Mixon, this is the one I was very off on, as well as Saquon. I didn't think these two would do very well, especially with what happened last year. Turns out that they did quite well so far, especially Joe Mixon with a 55-pointer. I think honestly, if it wasn't for the 55-pointer with Joe Mixon, he would have been more average. But that 55-pointer really raised his rankings. And Saquon's been very consistent, in my opinion. 20 points pretty much each game. And David Montgomery, I was definitely right about him. He's done very poorly, in my opinion. Travis Etienne, I think he's been pretty good. But yeah, like I said, based on what I looked at, I thought I was 70 to 80% accurate. I can't get them all right. I wish I could. I'm getting better. I wish I had their times of birth as well to really look more into their charts and see what specifically is going on. But the numerology definitely gives me a good representation. And remember, this sport is rigged. Sometimes they use the specific players for a specific narrative, and they can do much better on specific days in relation to their whole season. So they could be having like 3 or 4 games in a row where they get under 10 points, and all of a sudden they get a 20-pointer because there was some narrative going on involving them at the time. In terms of the tight ends, I had Mark Andrews as my top guy. I think he is the top guy right now, along Travis Kelce. Maybe Travis Kelce may have taken the lead a little bit for him. Dallas Goedert, he was looking good. He got injured. I said Darren Waller to avoid. He got injured. Knox, he's okay. Schultz, he's also okay. Hodginson's been pretty good. Hunter Henry ended up picking him up. I dropped him. He didn't do very well. He wasn't getting me any points. He could still turn it around, I guess, for himself. Because his main numerology will happen after his birthday, which is in December. So he could still pull out 1 or 2 good weeks, I guess. So if you want to pick him up off the waivers, that's potentially something good for you. Kittle, I don't think he was a 5. Kittle could definitely have been more of a 3.5 or 4. Travis Kelce was definitely a 5. In terms of the kickers, everyone did good. Everyone seemed pretty according to their rating, besides Matt Gay. I ended up dropping him. He was definitely not 5 stars. So that one was a miss for sure. Okay, so I'd say these were fairly accurate. Like I said, 70 to 80%. I'm curious how you guys did based on my picks. If you used these picks, leave a comment, subscribe, let me know how you did. And I'll definitely try and get it even better for next time. I thought Gibson was really good. I ended up picking him up. He's been very good in terms of getting many more points than he's been projected. That's why when I first picked my team, the projections were so low and I got a pretty bad rating. But they've been kind of outshining the projections with the exception of Elliott and, like I said, Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson kind of ruined my season for me because I did pick him up early on. So, that's okay. You have to try to succeed, and sometimes you fail when you try. So you just keep going, try to get better. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys next time.